forever. So
All right,
problem.
let's get started. We're a few minutes over. Let's go.
Oh, we were early. I
Yeah,
was early for once too. Oh well.
eh, that's all right.
I
Okay.
don't have a thought-provoking question. Well, I do, but I don't know if we'll have time. So
Yeah, I figure we might not get to all that stuff, so
that's fine.
I have a feeling this is gonna take a while.
Yeah, let's try and blaze through some of them.
Yeah, I think some of them are gonna be really obvious, but all right.
Get cough out now.
Starting the intro. Go ahead and start recording. And 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Final Checkpoint Podcast. This is episode 100. That's right. Episode 100 for those of you that don't know what I meant by that. It's it's been a long road, but we made it. 100 episodes. The doubters didn't think we were going to make it. There's no doubters out there. Nobody cared.
Yeah, who was that?
Nobody
That was
cared.
us.
Yeah, it's just us doubting this.
Yeah.
We were our own haters and doubters, but here we are, episode 100. This is exciting because that's a lot of episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it came up quick.
Came up quick. I still remember like starting the podcast and just, the Fire Emblem Three Houses episode, which to me is still one of our best episodes.
I agree. I still agree. That's a great episode.
Someday we'll finish a game near the same time so that we can have a spoiler cast. I think we did it with like The Last of Us 2, but
Yeah.
it's rare. It's very what is it? Few and far between. So
Right. Once you get your PS5, we can maybe do that.
yes, actually, great point. I wanted to say it right here on the podcast. It has finally happened. The PlayStation 5 has been captured.
Hey. We're both wearing PlayStation shirts.
PlayStation.
Hey.
Oh my god, what are we, fanboys? What's going on here?
And I shit on PlayStation every week.
Yeah, there's a lot of PlayStation hate, but yet these consoles just keep selling out. It's kind of crazy.
Hey, you can hate it and still love it.
Yeah. I'm mostly excited to continue playing like Days Gone on there with like the enhanced version of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yakuza Like a Dragon is one that I've kind of saved for that. And then of course Final Fantasy 14, which I'm back on and addicted to, and the PS5 enhanced edition of that.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, my name is Joel.
Oh, and I'm Ben. Yeah.
Ben, we actually, I think the last couple episodes we didn't do that part, but
We're terrible.
Yeah, we're terrible, but it's 100 episodes, so hopefully people know who we are by now. All those lovely listeners that probably call us mean names. Who knows? Who knows what they're saying? It's a one-way
I'm
street.
not listening.
It's a one-way street. So, anyways, Ben has cooked up something really fun for us. Kind of a crazy bracket here that we're gonna go through. We're gonna decide on which game franchises have are just like the best in general.
Your sentence there unraveled so quickly.
It went downhill real quick. I think because I was trying to think while talking, which usually isn't a good idea for me.
Then you got distracted by how do you spell franchise?
Yeah.
How many S's and C's are there?
Yeah. So Ben, I'll kind of let you talk about it and let us know maybe some of the requirements to be on this list and how things are gonna go.
Right. So this is the best video game franchise of all time bracket tournament spectacular. I only had a few rules, and the main one is that it had to have 3 entries. Because I figured a franchise with 2, is that really a franchise? I mean, technically, but I kind of wanted this to be franchise, like longer running franchises that have a history that's longer than 5 years, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that does mean stuff like Destiny or The Last of Us or Red Dead aren't on here. There are probably a few others, like Nier. Nier isn't on here, although I don't... it remains to be seen kind of what's going on with that. The other thing is there are some that are missing. Obviously, this isn't every franchise ever. That's crazy. There's already way too many on here.
There's quite a
So
bit, man. Quite a bit.
there's stuff like I don't think I put Infamous on here. I know Silent Hill isn't on here, and that's just like half the Silent Hill games aren't very good anyway. So it's also the goal is to kind of view it as a whole. So that means it's not necessarily that, oh, there's Mass Effect 2, there's also Andromeda, that kind of deal. Like
Right.
you have to
Right.
take all of it as a cohesive unit against the other whole franchise.
Yeah. And some of these are going to be straight up just knockouts, you know?
Yes.
But others are going to be what Jim Ross would say from WWE, a slobber knocker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Yep. A lot of slobbering,
Yep.
apparently. But yeah, right before we get started, remember, guys, you can find this podcast on all of your favorite podcast services. If it is not on that podcast service, well, you might need to change over to Apple, Google, Spotify, or Stitcher, because I know for sure they're there.
Yeah.
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 Tuesday
You tell 'em.
Tuesday mornings, you'll find it there. Of course, we also record live on twitch.tv/loadlastcheckpoint Sundays, 8 p.m. Pacific time. If you're watching live, you get some fun video bits. You get to see my face. You get to see Ben's face. You get to see the tournament bracket that we have here. And yeah, and eventually we'll have more stuff because it takes time and work to put stuff on here. But yeah,
Yes.
that's how it goes. That's how it goes. I'm excited to get started. So why don't we do exactly that? Ben,
Okay.
take us on your magic carpet ride.
Okay.
I
I was thinking of the song.
I
I was
you-
thinking of that classic rock song, and then I started thinking of Aladdin, and then I was like, no, I want to think of the other song, and then it took a couple seconds for my brain to like switch back over to the Magic Carpet
Okay.
Ride song.
I thought you broke.
Anyway, I mean, he broke me
You
already.
visually looked broken.
I was broken. I was very lost. It's like, what's that song? Does it exist? Oh shit, where am I? Not Aladdin. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay, there are 64 franchises on this
Whew.
bracket.
All right. I'll try to scroll with it. So
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a lot.
some of this is going to be
you
a little bit hard once we get further down.
You can also zoom in, like just do the, control zoom kind of thing.
Oh, there's a full
Anyway.
screen setting.
I don't know.
Cool.
You figure it out. The first one is Tomb Raider versus The Witcher. And also, I want to say, these are totally random. I did not put them in any order. I just compiled the list of games and hit submit, and this is the order that things happened in.
Okay. I mean, this is still a pretty good debate on this one, just because my thoughts are that Tomb Raider's just been around a really long time. So
Right.
It's had a lot of versions of it, especially with like the newer remakes that are more
Sure.
intense and a little more modern. But all it took was The Witcher 3 entries to be as good as it is. And I mean, some can say that maybe it's not as good once you play it now, because when it came out in 2016, it was
15, I think.
2015. Damn, that's a long time. It was a little more, not revolutionary, but just it made games like Skyrim and Fallout.
Fallout 4 specifically.
It
yeah.
really showed their flaws, and because this game was open world, it had so much to do, especially content wise. But Tomb Raider is also kind of like a nostalgia thing that is still with us and still kind of evolving. So that's a tough debate there.
I don't think so. I think 60+% of the Tomb Raider games are either garbage or no one cares. So I don't even really care that much about The Witcher,
Mhm.
but I think it's The Witcher.
You think
I-
it's a clear choice?
I think it's pretty clear. I love those Tomb Raider games, the new trilogy. Played through all of them.
Yeah.
I think they're great. I think what Witcher 2 did does not get enough credit, and then they knock it out of the park, like you said, with Witcher 3. That was so far ahead of the curve from its contemporaries. I don't. Tomb Raider just made Uncharted, and it's great,
Yeah.
but But that's 3 games out of like 12. Think of how many PS2 Tomb Raider games there were that were just straight trash.
That's true. I actually didn't, and I haven't played too much Tomb Raider just because when I tried a few of the earlier ones, right away I was like, I don't like this gameplay. Not
Exactly.
until the 2008 remake or whatever they came out with, the Uncharted Tomb Raider, did I
Hmm.
actually enjoy one of the Tomb Raider games. So
Right.
I'm good.
And
I'm good with that. I'm good
okay.
with The
And
Witcher.
then and that's the whole point of it being the whole franchise. We can't just pick Witcher 3 and
Yeah.
ignore Witcher 1, but in the same way we can't pick the new Tomb Raider trilogy and ignore 17 bad Tomb Raiders that
Yeah.
no one cares about.
Yeah. Cool. So I wonder if you. Oh, no, it live updated. Sweet.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't have to do
Perfect.
anything.
It has a spot for like scores, but I that's too many clicks. So we're
Oh
just
yeah.
gonna.
Just move
Okay,
it
next
over.
up is Skate versus Final Fantasy. Do we
Oh,
need to talk about this
I
at all?
mean, it's obviously Final Fantasy,
Okay.
but Skate still pretty good. If it was against Tony Hawk Pro Skater, that would be a tough debate right there because I think Skate just really they really knocked it out of the park with a little more of a realistic feeling of
Yeah.
skateboarding when you play, but Tony Hawk was also kind of like beyond that. It was just fun. But yeah, Final Fantasy for sure. Easy.
Okay. Yeah,
Easy.
I agree. I already put it in there. Skate's great, but it unfortunately was up against Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Tony Hawk is on the list somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah. It's 64 games. Everything's fucking on here.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's against against Mega
Don't
Man.
tell me. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil
Okay,
it.
all
Don't
right,
spoil
all
it.
right.
Next is Banjo Kazooie. Guess who put that on the list? Versus Kingdom Hearts. Fucking
That
hate this matchup. It's
that's
stupid as hell.
that's tough because I really love Kingdom Hearts. As
Yeah.
bonkers or weird as the story is, and how much it doesn't quite make sense, when you take Kingdom Hearts at a surface level of like bad versus evil, and you're trying to save basically each other's hearts, like if you take it like that, great games. If you try to dig deeper, no,
You're gonna
No.
have a bad time.
you're gonna have a bad time. You're not gonna like it. You're gonna regret ever thinking you wanted to know more. But Kingdom Hearts 2 for me was like just such a like kick-ass game. I still have my PS2 version up here. I mean, it's that good. It's so good, and I want to replay it like the newer HD edition someday.
Mhm,
Although it'll
mhm.
probably never happen because let's be honest.
Right.
But Banjo, I know, is a game that's near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, I love Banjo Kazooie. I'm not gonna give this one that much of a fight because Banjo Tooie I hate. I really do not like Banjo Tooie.
Oh, bummer.
I have a whole story about that, but this is gonna take 4 hours, so I won't go into the story. But also, Nuts and Bolts is really cool, but it's not really what anybody wanted. It's cool though. I would love to go back again, like
Yeah.
you said with Kingdom Hearts 2. I'd love to go back and play that. It's on Game Pass.
It
Uh,
is.
of course it is, because everything's fucking on there. I'm fine with Kingdom Hearts winning because it is fun. It is good.
Okay.
It's more consistent than Banjo-Kazooie, which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean the gameplay is really good in Kingdom Hearts. It evolved a little bit, like added new mechanics and stuff just because of the newer technology that they had on other consoles and stuff. So plus Kingdom Hearts 3 like is such a weird and cool experience, and especially like when you're teaming up with the Toy Story crew.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was
And there's
great.
that just like that screenshot of angry Woody. That's just so perfect.
It's
It gave us that.
right, and we have that. There's a lot of games in that franchise. There's a lot of history with it, so fine.
Yep.
I'll let it go. Not a Frozen reference, also in Kingdom Hearts.
Also in Kingdom Hearts.
Next one up is Mortal Kombat versus Devil May Cry,
Ooh.
which is a weird, interesting matchup there. I want to say there's a lot of Mortal Kombat games, a lot of bad Mortal Kombat games too. I'm for Devil May Cry. I love those character action games. As bad as Devil May Cry 2 is, which is horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got 1, you got 3. 4 is pretty good.
I like
5's
4.
great.
Yeah.
So I think it's just pretty solid all around. Kind of defined a genre for 15 years. That's pretty impressive. I know people love Mortal Kombat. I've never been a fighting game person. So.
Same. Yeah, I'm not big on like 1v1 fighting games. I like when they mix it up a little bit and add different things. But
Mhm.
and Mortal Kombat's one of those games that I played a lot during my childhood, but Devil May Cry is a game that's kind of more my style nowadays. And I loved my experience with Devil May Cry 4. And I still need to jump into Devil May Cry 5, but I can already and DMC
Yeah,
the
that one's
like
good too, I
yeah,
think.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, I
Yeah.
definitely would say in this round here, Devil May Cry over
Okay.
Mortal Kombat.
I'll break some hearts with that one, but
Well, we'll find them in Kingdom Hearts. That's okay.
yeah, they become heartless and we gotta find them or whatever.
Yeah, unless they're a nobody, and then who gives a shit?
What a mess. Mario Party versus Animal Crossing.
I mean, you're gonna have probably more to say on this. For me, it's for me definitely Animal Crossing, just because I put a lot more time into Animal Crossing. But
Hmm.
this is also the Switch gave me my first experience with Animal Crossing and with Mario Party.
Okay.
And I mean, out of the two, I definitely spent a lot more time playing Animal Crossing.
Mario Party has the same problem that Tomb Raider has, where half the Mario Party games are bad.
Hmm.
And Nintendo, you played the Mario Party on the Switch. It's good, but it's missing so many things that just feel like obvious features. I mean, they patched in online multiplayer 2 years after it came out. It's a weird, it's a weird entry with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Animal Crossing is more consistent. It's more important to the medium, and those games are great. As many complaints as I have about them, and I wish they weren't so stagnant.
Yeah, yeah,
They're awesome.
yeah,
I
yeah.
I
Can't deny it.
I, I think it's Animal Crossing.
Cool.
I'm submitting it. It's gonna take 4.5 years for us to do this. Saints Row versus Burnout.
Burnout. That one's an
Burnout.
easy one for me, just because I definitely like
Burnout. Don't give
Burnout
a shit
more.
about Saints Row.
Some
Okay,
of these,
next.
some of these might be really quick. So.
That's fine with me. Mario Kart versus Yoshi. Mario Kart.
Kart, easy.
There's like two good Yoshi games. Most of them are straight trash. So, see ya. Oh, interesting one. Katamari versus Yakuza.
So I've played a little bit of Katamari, and I've
Mhm.
played, you know, out of the two Yakuza entries I've played, I really enjoyed Like a Dragon a lot. And Katamari to me got a little boring. It's just not, but
Okay.
it's also definitely not my style of game.
I think I've played every single Katamari game except for the one on the Vita, and I
Mm.
mean beat them, like fully play them. I love Katamari, which I think is also a name of one of them. We Love Katamari, I think is the name of one of them. Anyway,
Yeah, I think so. Or I love
uh,
Katamari, I think.
I hate the combat in the Yakuza games. I think it's terrible. I think everything else is amazing, but the base gameplay is terrible, and it just drives me up a wall.
Yeah.
This is, I mean,
When you take it as a whole, the whole franchise, right? The most enjoyable one out of Yakuza was Like a Dragon, and that's because of the change
they
in
changed
combat.
it, right?
Where Katamari, although not much really changed, still enjoyable. You
Hmm.
loved each iteration of it. So I think because you definitely have a higher what is it? More of a you have a higher stake in this one. I was gonna say
Yeah, I
a
guess.
bigger horse in the race, but I don't know if that's the saying. So
Choo choo horses. I mean Yakuza's amazing. The stories are so good.
yeah, yeah,
I just think playing the game and even
isn't
in
as
Like a
fun.
Dragon, it's just like I would rather this be a movie. I'd rather just watch this. I don't need to fight anything.
Yeah,
It just feels very like it's there because it has to be a video game kind of deal.
yeah,
And I don't it's just too much. It just feels like filler.
yeah.
Um, if you're fine with Katamari, I'm
I'm
moving Katamari.
I'm fine with
All right.
Katamari.
All right. Again, breaking people's hearts. Oh God, Mass Effect versus Uncharted.
This one for me is really tough because
This is easy for
I
me.
love Mass Effect, but after playing Uncharted 4, I was floored with how great it. Like I loved it. Like I felt like I was in an action movie
Sure.
but I also was dying to see what happened at the end. Mass Effect just really does hold a special place in my heart, though, because of
Yeah.
the carry through of each one of your saves. I mean, the amount of work I went through to play
Save
1 and
everyone.
2. No, not even just that, just to
Oh,
play the
okay.
game, because at the time
Oh,
when I wanted to play it, it was only on Xbox 360, right? So I had to get an Xbox 360. I didn't buy it like a brand new one, but I worked at a video game store, so I like bought a refurbished one and played through 1 and 2. And then I
mm-hmm.
heard they were coming out on PS3 with Mass Effect 2. So then I was like, cool, got rid of my Xbox, got the one got the one on PS3, and then went through the same decisions that I made on the first one
Right.
and carried my story all the way through until 3. And then I remember the hype levels for 3 were so crazy.
Yes.
It was
Out of
nuts.
control. It was like
It was nuts.
cyberpunk levels of
Yeah.
ridiculous.
But it actually, I mean, people would say it didn't, they were let down by the end or whatever, but I
It
was fine with
delivered.
it. It was
It
fine.
delivered.
To me, it delivered.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I finished Mass Effect 1 yesterday. My replay
Very
through
nice.
finally.
There you go.
And God, the ending of that game is so cool, and it's a remarkable. It came out in 2007.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff. It really, and knowing like some behind the scenes kind of history of that game and how the engine was like such a mess to work with, it's so impressive. And I'm almost tearing up at the end of
Yeah.
that game because it's just so cool. And I know what's coming, and I know it's not over. And I I I think Uncharted's great. No one's disputing that.
Yeah.
But I think Uncharted 1 is unplayable almost now. Like it is not good. And I don't think Uncharted 2 is as amazing as people say, specifically the end. Lazarevich and his berries or whatever the hell's going on.
Weird boss battle for
I
sure.
don't know. Yeah, it's
I
bad.
always go back to that when you're in the building and it's collapsing.
Right.
Among thieves.
In 2, yeah.
And it's like collapsing into another building, and then the train sequence, of course. But for me, the building portion was so insane in a video game, and it's definitely, just like with Mass Effect, for me, it's hard to go back and play those games and really see them in the same light they used to. But I think because of the improvements they've made to like the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, I think it helps it still kind of,
Yeah.
be playable, where I don't think the same could be said about Uncharted. But 4
Right.
is still crazy good, but yeah, it's
I think Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy specifically are amazing. I think those are what show what that franchise could and should be.
yeah.
But 1 specifically, and like 2's good, 3's good, but I don't think they're anywhere near what they are held up in the gaming community as.
Mhm.
I think Naughty Dog really excelled at Last of Us, and that's like you look at Last of Us 1 and then look at Uncharted 3 and even look at Uncharted 4,
Mhm.
and like that's not it's I mean night and day thematically too, but it's so far ahead of Uncharted. It's
Yeah.
not even close.
Yeah.
Even from gameplay to story, not even close.
Yeah.
So I think if you look at it from that, and Mass Effect, it's fucking Mass Effect.
True.
It's
Yeah.
it's Mass Effect. Look at the poster.
It's crop. I
Mass
can't see shit.
Damn it. Fuck. This
Oh,
is
the
an
next
interesting one.
Yeah.
Borderlands versus SSX. I love SSX, and I will pick SSX over Borderlands.
I was more of a 1080 snowboarding fan, and I only played a little bit of
That's
SSX.
not on here.
Borderlands, I loved 1. I loved 2. I mean, I don't know how many times I played that game on Vita, on PS3, on
Vita,
PS4. Great game. Something about that company now, about Randy Pitchford, just like
Sure.
so I'll give you SSX.
I'm fine with
because
giving
either
you the-
one is gonna get destroyed by Mass Effect in the next round anyway.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, well, who
Yeah.
fuck cares then? I'll just pick SSX. Who
Yeah,
cares?
I'm okay with that.
That's fair. That's a good point there.
Yeah.
That saved us some discussion.
This one's all on you, man. I
Okay,
haven't. I
Crisis
barely
versus Tales.
touched. Barely
So
touched
it's the
Crisis.
Tales of franchise, which is like 15 games,
Yeah.
versus Crisis. I really loved Crisis. Last year when I played through 1 and 2, God, they were so good. And I want to play through 3, but now they're remastering 3 and blah blah blah. But that game held up. Like Crisis 2 basically looked and felt like a modern game. It was 10 years old.
Hmm.
Um, but I love the Tales of franchise. The little plush I have above me is from Tales of Zestiria, I think. It's hard to remember. No,
Yeah.
it's hard to remember. There's so many of them. I think it's Tales of Zestiria. I love those games, and I'm super excited for the new one coming out. This demo like next week. Very very excited. I'm totally fine with. I don't think people love Crisis. They should,
It's not as
but
beloved, but
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I I don't know why I've just never played a Tales game. Like they're right up my alley and the type of games I like, and I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
never played
yeah.
one. It's really weird.
Mm.
Damn,
How did Gears of War get against Halo? What the fuck?
This is great. This is great. I mean,
Oh
the obvious pick is Halo.
shit! I want to lean towards Gears.
See, I like, and the reason for it to me is because of the amount of hype there is for Halo Infinite, but
Okay.
also, as much as people really dislike like 4 and 5, the
Mhm.
multiplayer is what they rave about.
Right, right.
I find Halo boring, but I know how much it means to.
I'm
I
still
like-
picking it.
Yeah, like to me, I mean, I think Gears is way better for gameplay. I think it's more entertaining, but I think for what it means to people, and
As a franchise.
as a franchise, especially 1, 2, and 3, like I think that's huge.
All right, I agree. I do really like 1 through 3. Halo's great.
Yeah.
I really like the Gears games, but it's a shame it had to go out like this.
Yeah, I mean, killed by its own brother, basically.
It is weird.
Yeah.
Need for Speed versus Fable. I hate Fable, so I will not pick it ever.
I've only played Fable 1, really, and the Lost Chapters or whatever. And I thought it was a funny game. I didn't much care for the rest of it. But Need for
Mhm.
Speed, Underground 2, Hot Pursuit, I mean,
Yep.
bangers right there. So I'm down for Need for Speed.
Okay. Yeah, Need for Speed, great. Oh, I hate this one. BioShock versus Metal Gear Solid.
I mean,
That sucks.
for me, it's an easy choice because I haven't played much Metal Gear, so BioShock is definitely for me.
No, it is Metal Gear. It
Is
is fucking Metal Gear. There is no other choice.
I know the history it has, so I will gladly go
You should.
your side. 'Cause
So-
I don't really have the best argument for BioShock other than
It's
I really
amazing.
loved it's great, but I loved Infinite the most.
I really like Infinite as well.
Yeah.
So what I'll say about Metal Gear is I mentioned that kind of funny they're playing through like the entirety of Metal Gear slowly on their streams. And going back and looking at Metal Gear Solid 1, which came out in 1998, it is so far ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that that game came out on the same system as like Final Fantasy 7
Yeah.
or like anything like any other PS1 game, and you look at Metal Gear Solid and it's just like it's like someone's playing chess and you're playing checkers. Like it's so out of its league. It's insane. And then they started Metal Gear Solid 2. Like, this is unbelievable, and the story that is weaved through all these games. Metal Gear Solid 3 in particular is one of my favorite games ever made. 4 is incredible. 5 is obviously incredible. And I love BioShock. I love the original BioShock. I love Infinite. This one sucks, but it has to be Metal
This
Gear.
one hurts.
Metal Gear is unbelievable
Yeah.
what has been accomplished.
Metal Gear.
Sorry,
it is?
Ken Levine.
Put him to rest.
BioShock's so good.
It is. It's just a tough round. Tough round. A
Yeah.
lot of these should have made it to the, later
Right,
rounds, but
right.
unfortunately, they faced They face a difficult
something ridiculous. Not
Yeah.
everything can go up against Mario Party or some
Yeah,
shit.
not everything can go up against like Fable.
Yeah, Fable. We just go. Who cares?
Yeah.
Resident Evil versus Castlevania, which also sucks for me because I love Castlevania.
Dude, with my experience with Resident Evil 2 remake, and I played a lot of 4 when it initially came. Well, not when it came out on GameCube, but when it came out on PS2. And
Hmm.
from what I played with 7, and I remember playing the originals. So like to me, Resident Evil has a bigger place in my gaming history than Castlevania does, because the only one I've really played is Symphony of the Night,
Okay.
and that's really it. I mean, I think Resident Evil 2 remake alone makes me want to vote for Resident Evil.
Yeah, we'll probably talk more about Resident Evil later. Obviously, I have the umbrella lamp light above me. Uh, I I love Castlevania. There's that run of GBA/DS Castlevania games
Yeah, I
that
remember
are
those.
so good. I'm pretty sure I played all of them, um, or at least most of them. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate
Yeah.
because I love Castlevania. But yeah, it's Resident Evil. Wah, wah, wah. This one's good. Pokemon versus God of War.
I mean, this one's easy for me. As much as I loved like God of War 2018, and it's on like my top 10 list.
Uh-huh.
And I really did love all the PS2 and PS3 versions, whatever.
Hmm. Hmm.
Pokemon is something that I love since I played it, and I'm still playing Pokemon games now, like multiple ones, and it's like they're like no way I'm not
No
picking
question.
Pokemon. Yeah, no question at all.
So I think Pokemon is the laziest franchise of all time. However, I really don't care for God of War 1 through 3. I
Yeah,
don't think they're very good. And 2018 is great, but
yeah,
that's one game. I'm fine with putting Pokemon. I really doesn't hurt me at all.
yeah. I think there's such a great argument for Pokemon that yes, it's like baby's first RPG. It's very like it in a way it's kind of lazy, but like there's a whole middle section of the franchise, like Ruby and Sapphire, Black and White 2,
Black
that
and yellow, black and
that
yellow.
had great stories. And like we're with Pokemon, it's kind of like you can make it as complex as you want, right? It can be just
Right.
surface level, like fire versus water, what's going to lose? Easy, fire. Or you can go really deep with the mechanics and breed your 5 or 4 IV Pokemon and take them into battle and all sorts of crap like that. But I like to keep it simple with Pokemon.
I agree. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
It'll get knocked out later. So whatever.
probably.
uh, Soul Calibur versus Doom.
Doom.
I picked Doom. Yeah, I picked Doom.
Yeah, mainly because
Soul Calibur is great.
we're not big on fighting games, but and Soul
No.
Calibur has
If-
some history there. That's
Right.
pretty cool.
If I had
but,
to pick one, I do love Soul Calibur, but
it's pretty cool.
Doom. It's a weird one. Elder Scrolls versus Far Cry. Now we're doing franchises.
Yeah.
Who knows anything about Elder Scrolls 1 through 3?
I didn't even know they existed until Oblivion, and then I realized
Right?
it was Morrowind.
Yeah, I might have heard of Morrowind. I might have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that's
I'd
not.
be really deep into the.
You had to be really nerdy. You had to be
Yeah.
one of those super nerds to know about that. No offense, nerds.
Yeah. And Skyrim was great, but to me, it's like the combat isn't great.
No, there's a lot of
Yeah.
that game that's not great.
Yeah. So my pick is definitely Far Cry, mainly because I think that 3 and 4 were fun experiences, and
Mhm.
from what I've played of 5, I've really enjoyed it. 2 will forever be
Oh,
a
I
piece of
hated
garbage because you have to constantly cure your malaria, which
Fucking
is so
hated it.
stupid.
I hated to.
And it had such a good setting for it, and then it's like, well, you have malaria, and it's like,
And
you
then like
suck.
that was the one that had the worst enemy like random encounters where
Oh,
you
yeah.
would just be walking around, oh I have malaria, and then you turn around and there's 7 Jeeps trying to kill you. Like,
Yeah, and then they're using
fuck?
flamethrowers in the jungle, and you're just like, what the hell, man?
It's awful, yeah,
Yeah.
it's awful.
Awful.
Yeah, I but even saying that, Far Cry 3, incredible. I loved 5. I know 5 is the controversial one for people, but God, the opening of that game and then
It's
the
crazy.
ending of that game,
Yeah.
just
That
it really hit with me. It really did.
the intro of Far Cry 5 like blew me away. Like
Yes.
I rarely sit through a lot of cutscenes for games that I don't feel like really need that type of
Mhm.
what is it, presentation or whatever, or
Right.
introduction, and I could not keep my eyes off of it. It was nuts. So cool.
It's so good. The end of that game is bananas.
Oh, I can't wait to get there. I'm gonna have to play it. I miss it already.
I really enjoyed it. And I want to get back to New Dawn. Those games are great. Dead
Next.
Rising versus Street Fighter. We don't like fighting games, as we've already discussed.
We don't like fighting games, but also haven't played much Dead Rising.
I love Dead
So
Rising.
I was gonna say I'll leave this one up to you, just because Street Fighter mainly just has like the nostalgia for me.
Mhm.
But I don't play them anymore.
I'm not sure I've ever played Street Fighter. I can't confidently say one way or the other. My roommate in college played a shit ton of Street Fighter 4, so I've watched a lot of Street Fighter, but I don't think I've ever played it. So, no, it's Dead Rising. I love Dead Rising.
Dead Rising.
I love every entry.
Both
I
Capcom franchises.
I'm a big Capcom fan. Yeah. Dark Souls versus WarioWare.
Dude,
Just put Dark Souls on there.
plug
We'll
in
just-
Dark Souls. Who
We'll
gives
just
a
move on.
what even is WarioWare?
Who knows?
They don't know what
Who
it is.
cares? Ninja Gaiden versus Diablo.
Diablo.
I think we gotta go Diablo. I love Ninja Gaiden. But no, thank you.
Yeah.
Gotta be Diablo. Tony Hawk versus Mega Man.
I mean, my pick is totally Tony Hawk.
Yeah, it's Tony Hawk.
Sorry,
I like Mega Man a lot, but
I like Mega
I
Man,
think-
but not as much as Tony Hawk.
we're of the right age. We're of the Tony Hawk age.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to beat Tony Hawk for us.
The games were too hard for me when I was young too. Like the older
They're
Mega
still
Man
too
games,
hard.
they're still pretty hard. Yeah.
They're
But
still
Tony
pretty hard,
Hawk
yeah.
welcomed me in with open arms and a skateboard. So
So now we've proved it. Tony Hawk better than BioShock.
yeah, true.
Fire Emblem versus Half-Life.
Oh,
We're
Half-Life.
We're both fans of Half-Life, so see ya.
Yeah, as much as I love Three Houses, like it can't compare to Half-Life 2.
That one's a bummer because Fire Emblem is incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just
Hey.
it's wrong place, wrong time.
There's
Fire
got to be
Emblem.
losers. There's got to be losers.
You know, it's on that weapon triangle. It's on the wrong spot.
yeah, yeah.
It gets overtaken. Assassin's Creed versus Guitar Hero. Who put Guitar Hero on the list? You may ask. It's
You
me.
did, and
It was me.
that's a tough one. Although I think Guitar Hero is definitely more fun than Assassin's Creed.
I love Guitar Hero, yeah, but I don't think even I can fight too hard for it against Assassin's Creed. I
Assassin's
get it.
Creed 2 was great. And then, now with the Origins was cool. Odyssey is just too big. Too much.
Right.
Now they're getting greedy.
You need to play Valhalla. That's a great game. I think Assassin's Creed has the problem where half those entries are kind of maligned, but then so does Guitar Hero for a lot of people.
Hmm.
So I'm fine with Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
Unfortunately. Donkey Kong versus Call of Duty.
I mean,
It's a reverse Sophie's Choice.
this is tough.
Okay.
I haven't played, other than like the SNES Donkey Kongs, I haven't played much Donkey Kong. Tropical
Mhm.
Freeze always looks like a fun time, but I don't have it, so I haven't played it. Call of Duty though, I mean, for me it really starts with like Modern Warfare, then Modern Warfare
Right.
2,
And
and Black Ops 2. Like, so for me it's definitely Call of Duty.
I'm fine with that. I don't care about Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Oh, this
I'm
next
surprised
one.
I capitalized it. So.
This
This one's Persona versus The Legend of Zelda.
I mean, Zelda.
It's Zelda.
It's
yeah,
Zelda. As much as I do love Persona, especially like Persona 3 and 4, and 5, I guess.
But again, Persona 1 and 2.
I did play Persona 1 on the was it Persona 1? I played a
PS1?
really old Persona game on my Vita because I bought it through the PSP store.
Oh.
And I mean it's cool. It's just you've got Link to the Past, you've got the Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages,
Yeah,
and
those are great.
those are the ones I really love.
Yeah, well, you got Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild. Like,
Yeah.
it's like every
It's
entry,
yeah,
almost.
it's pretty good. It's pretty consistent.
Persona got done dirty a little bit, admittedly. Like, if this was against WarioWare, maybe Persona would be
Oh yeah.
would go further.
Yeah.
It just, the luck of the draw killed Persona, which I'm happy about because I don't dislike it. I just don't care that much.
It's because other people love it too much, and that's my problem with this. Everybody's constantly raving about Persona 5, and it's just
It's not that good.
like
It's good.
it's good. It's
really
just to
good.
me, it's like why is it so long?
No, if that game was 30 or 40 hours,
Yeah,
it would be fucking incredible.
yeah.
But it's like that's when it starts.
Strikers is fun. That's a good one.
Okay. Metroid versus Battlefield.
I love Metroid more than Battlefield. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just get rid of Battlefield. Don't really care
Yeah.
that much. They're good though. Rock Band versus Sonic, which is
I like Sonic more than Rock Band just because I didn't play much Rock Band.
okay, that's fine. I think Rock Band is worse than Guitar Hero. So. This was me. There's a list on Wikipedia of just list of video game franchises, and man, let me tell you, that was 20 minutes of just like, do I pick this one? Do I get that one? GTA versus Star
Oh,
Fox.
easy. GTA.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, we'll discuss GTA later.
Yeah.
Fallout versus Mario,
Oh,
which is very sucks.
very sucks indeed.
Which very sucks.
I'm gonna pick Mario.
I think I have to pick Mario.
Yeah. Super Mario
Yeah,
World
it's-
alone is like if someone was like, "Do you want to play a sequel to I guess a real sequel to Super Mario World, or the next Fallout?" I'd be like, "Super Mario World, please."
I mean, I love Fallout. I've played Fallout 1 and 2 as well. Not a ton, but
Yeah.
I think they're great. I think Fallout 3's. I don't know if I'll ever be addicted to a game as much as I was addicted to Fallout 3 when it came out. It was bad. Fallout 4 I really enjoyed. Some of the DLC in Fallout 4 is incredible. But just Mario, I mean, you only mentioned the 2D entries, but there's like Mario 64, Mario Galaxy, Mario Odyssey. It's
Odyssey's great.
Mario.
I love Odyssey.
See, I don't know what they're singing. Smash Bros. versus Ratchet and Clank. It's Smash Bros.
I mean, it's definitely Smash Bros. Sorry,
We're
Ratchet.
not even gonna deliberate.
Sorry, Ratchet.
Monster Hunter versus Worms. I love the Worms games, but I love how that's the monster though.
Yeah.
It's a little worm.
I'm gonna say Monster Hunter just because
Yeah.
I still remember playing it on the PSP and having to do the claw and eventually Monster
Oof.
Hunter World, which was great.
Yeah, I love Worms, but no, it is Monster
I
Hunter.
don't think I've ever played a Worms game before.
I played so much Worms back in the day. Man, that's good shit. But we're talking about Monster Hunter, so
Yeah.
we're on to round 2.
All right.
Hey, we're technically halfway done, so
Let's just
Hold on to
so
your
for
butt.
these, I think what we should do is just put in our vote, and let's say we're split, then
we talk.
then we deliberate. Yeah.
Smart man. Witcher versus Final Fantasy.
I mean, Final Fantasy.
It's Final Fantasy.
It's Final Fantasy.
Love The Witcher, no offense. Here's your consolation prize.
Yep.
Kingdom Hearts versus Devil May Cry. It's Devil May Cry. I'm
Devil
not
May
talking
Cry.
about Kingdom
I mean,
Hearts.
similar combat in a way.
No.
Okay, there's a lot of
There's
slashing.
There's slashing. Yeah, there's
A lot of
slashing.
bonks.
Animal Crossing versus Burnout. I think we'll just give it to. Oh, that one's kind of tough for me. I love Burnout.
That's tough. I put so many hours in Animal Crossing. I can't see myself picking Burnout over it.
What would you rather have? A new Burnout game or a new Animal Crossing?
A new Animal Crossing, but hopefully they've added more.
They fixed things.
Hopefully
yeah.
they've made it more of a game.
Okay, I'm fine with Animal Crossing. I'm fine with that. Mario Kart versus Katamari. I think Mario Kart
Mario
has to
Kart.
win that. Yeah. Mass
Cool.
Effect versus SSX. I love SSX. Sorry to see you go.
Yep. Sorry to see you fall
Sorry to
down
see you
that
go.
mountain.
The Tales of franchise versus Halo. I love Tales so much. I would rather play a Tales game. They're very different, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I just haven't played any Tales games, so I'm gonna pick Halo.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think if I pick Tales here, it is just full of bias. And I do like Halo, and I understand this probably should pick Halo. Like I get it.
Yeah.
Need for Speed versus Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear.
That's Metal Gear.
I'm gonna pick it just for you.
It's gonna win. Resident Evil versus Pokemon.
Oh man, I just love Pokemon so much.
No, there's no fucking way.
Now,
the only way you
now I
can win this
know.
is
I was gonna say Resident Evil. I know is like your favorite franchise, and
yeah,
Pokemon
yeah.
is not my favorite franchise. It's close
Yeah.
though, so I'm gonna say
Okay.
I'm gonna give it to Resident Evil, and that's only
Alright.
because they've actually changed their games. Where Pokemon all they did was make them 3D. So
Yeah, Resident Evil does have a long list of bad entries
mhm.
that no one really likes that much, but I think so does Pokemon. And the fact that I bring this up every time, but when the Sword and Shield trailer had like an indoor cave area and the camera moved around, and my first thought was like, "Oh, look at the camera movement of this like that's so cool for a Pokemon game." And then I realized that's like a PS2 feature
Yeah,
that we're just now getting. Like this franchise is fucking ridiculous. I look at Sword and Shield on the Switch and tell me it looks like a modern game outside of battle.
it
Like
doesn't.
just fucking lie to me.
I've been playing it again lately, and it is like every time I play it, I'm like, man, we had such high hopes for you.
It yeah, this is a like, hey, we'd pick you Pokemon, but you need to be better. You need to
Yeah,
try better.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is almost like a form of punishment to them.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
get back in your Pokeball.
Yeah,
I'm done with you.
you're done.
Doom versus Far Cry.
I'm gonna pick Far Cry.
Oh,
I think I like the games so much. Like I just think they're more entertaining. Well, I mean that's hard because Doom 2016 really to me is my favorite Doom, but I just like the open world portion of Far Cry.
Okay.
There's just so much more
think,
to do.
I think Doom Eternal is way better than Doom 2016. I know that's
Yeah.
a lot of people don't agree with that. I think it's hands down better. It's so good, and I love Doom 2. I grew up playing Doom and Doom 2, which says a lot. But I pick Doom. I would not pick
You pick Doom?
Fallout.
Far Cry.
Not pick Fallout.
You
Whatever
know,
the hell game it is.
I could see like just because we're tied, and also because it's a close one. Because
It's a close one. Well, and we also have like Far Cry 2 comes into play,
yeah, fuck Far Cry,
which
2.
is
and you know what? Doom
bad.
never gave me malaria, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick
Yeah.
Doom.
The worst thing Doom ever did was Doom 3, and that was just kind of like no one wanted that.
Yeah,
It wasn't just horrendously evil.
true.
Malaria.
Malaria.
I mean, you gotta like pick the bullets out of your arm. That was kind of cool, but
yeah,
like once.
it's cool the first time.
It's Dead Rising versus Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
I love Dead Rising, but goodbye.
I mean,
Diablo versus Tony Hawk, which I feel like is the best matchup.
man,
Just like a regular ass dude up against the devil is what it is.
Diablo. It's got to be Diablo.
It's Diablo.
As much as I love Tony Hawk.
That's unfortunate. Half-Life versus Assassin's Creed.
Oh, Half-Life.
It's Half-Life. It's
It's
Half-Life.
got to be Half-Life.
I was so happy Alex came out so I could pick Half-Life since they refused to make 3s.
Yeah.
Although I'd count the episodes. Call of Duty versus Zelda. What a matchup.
Zelda.
What a
This
matchup
is-
there.
This is mainly because I suck at first-person shooters too.
But it's Zelda. Like, come
That too. It is Zelda.
on. Metroid versus Sonic.
I'm gonna say Metroid.
Yeah, I love Sonic. But
I can't play them anymore.
most of those games are not good, and the
Yeah.
only reason I can still play Sonic 1 through 3 is because I did as a kid.
Mhm.
I know when Mania came out, I was like, these games aren't good. I don't enjoy playing this at all.
Yeah.
It's just nostalgia that I know the levels. That's the only reason why I can play it. So Metroid, I mean, we didn't even need to talk about Super Metroid. Probably one of the best games ever made.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good. And all the GBA ones are incredible.
Can't wait for Metroid Dread. That one looks good.
Yeah. GTA versus Mario. What a stacked end of this bracket.
I mean, my vote still goes to Mario.
I don't like GTA, so yeah. I would not have picked GTA under like any circumstance.
What if it was against I don't know.
I mean,
Assassin's
even
Creed. Oh, Assassin's
yeah,
Creed would still be probably.
no, I'd still pick Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
There's stuff like Katamari. I guess I'd pick GTA because I do enjoy it. It's fine.
I love 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. Those 3 there are so great.
Got
But
that potential remaster coming.
yeah, and then 4 and 5 are kind of like cool, but 5 is now. I'm so tired of 5. Like other than watching GTA or GTRP or whatever it is, I don't want to play that game ever again.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right, and we already talked about Mario and how important Mario is.
Yeah, old Mario.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Smash Bros on the next one.
Okay. Oh, really? No, it's
Over
fuck.
Monster Hunter?
It's not loading for me. Okay,
Oh.
there it goes. Um,
Smash Bros versus Monster Hunter?
I love Monster Hunter.
Oh, I do. I mean, I do
And
too,
I love
but
Smash Bros.
Smash Bros is so fun, especially when you play like when I was playing with my kids, like such a good time.
Okay, you know what does it for me is that half, if not more than half of the Monster Hunter games should have just been World, and it took them 10 years to figure that out.
Yeah.
So, oh wait.
If they had killer like multiplayer, the choice would be easier. But getting together with friends in that game was such a pain in the ass.
My bracket got all fucked up. Hold on.
Really?
No, it's just the way I have it zoomed in. Final Fantasy versus Devil May Cry. We're back to the top of the round.
Very top, very top.
Uh,
That's still
This is Final Fantasy.
Still
It
Final
has to
Fantasy for
be
me.
those. I just even with the bad entries, the good entries are so good
yeah.
and iconic. And Devil May Cry, it kind of got way too far than it should have been, honestly. Animal Crossing versus Mario Kart.
I really love Mario Kart.
I don't care really either way. This is
Yeah.
kind of a stalemate for me.
I mean,
so
Super
I'm fine
Mario
with
Kart
Mario
was
Kart.
great. Mario Kart 64 was awesome.
Double Dash is incredible. Yeah.
And I really enjoyed Mario Kart 8 on Switch.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Cool.
Mass Effect versus Hello, also known as Halo.
Well, it's definitely for me Mass Effect because I don't find the gameplay boring.
I was also very wishy-washy on Halo in the last round, so it's Mass Effect.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
That's
Oh,
revenge for Tails.
This
What that
one's
is.
tough for you. I mean,
This is the one
I've-
for me that
I've played more Resident Evil than I have Metal Gear, so for me, I'm picking Resident Evil. But this is if someone grabbed 2 of your kids and was hanging them over, they're holding them over like a
it's Sophie's
pit or a
Choice.
bridge,
It's
and they're like,
literally-
"All right, Ben, pick your favorite child."
I don't know. I mean, I haven't played the Metal Gear games in a while, and they're hard to kind of replay
Mhm.
because they're either like, oh, I can play 1 over here. I could also play 2 on this console, and 4 is trapped on PS3. Like it's a giant mess.
Yeah.
See, I think Metal Gear is the better franchise. But to me personally, at this point, there's so many amazing Resident Evil games that I'd have to pick Resident Evil. But this one is the tough one. Yeah, and you're not gonna. It's really a choice for me because you're not really in this fight at all.
No, No, I'm just sitting here hanging out with Resident Evil 2 remake, just having a few drinks.
I think I'll give it to Resident Evil. There are more great Resident Evil games than even exist Metal Gear games. I think the Metal Gear games are probably better, but there's just the sheer volume, and you look at the franchise of Resident Evil with spin-offs and movies and TV show, like there's so much more to that. So I reluctantly I'll pick Resident Evil. But that one's a tough one for me.
You had
Very
a very
tough.
hard time.
I don't like. I just had to pick it and move on. I can't
Yeah.
even. Yeah.
You're having some issues.
Doom versus Dark Souls. I think Dark Souls just.
Yeah.
It's gonna clear everything it goes up against.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one.
This one sucks. Diablo versus Half-Life. Now you know how much I love Diablo 2. And you know how much I love Half-Life.
Oh, this one's tough because I really loved the first so I love Diablo 3 as much as like it's not as great as 2. I still played a lot of it, and looking forward to Diablo 4. Half-Life 2 really blew me away.
Yeah.
And I still remember the first time I played it, and I went through Ravensholm?
I was gonna say Ravenloft. It's Ravenholm.
Ravenholm, yeah. Like the first time going through there was insane. And so for me, I'm gonna pick Half-Life solely for Half-Life 2.
I think that's fine. I love Diablo. You know my thoughts on Diablo 3. Diablo 2 is in my top 5 games of all time, and alongside it is probably Half-Life 2 / Half-Life Alyx. So yeah, it's Half-Life. Dude, I still think I told you I beat Half-Life Alyx twice. I cried both times.
Dang.
At the end of that game.
Yeah.
And if I sit and think about it long enough, I'll just get chills. It's
Wow.
so good.
Oh my
It
gosh.
is incredible. So yeah, it's Half-Life. It's Half-Life. As a longtime fan, that ending was more than good.
Yeah.
Zelda versus Metroid is a very Nintendo bracket over here.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna pick Zelda.
It's Zelda, but damn, Metroid's good.
Yeah.
Mario versus the Smashy Bros.
Mario. Look at what we're gonna have next round.
It's awful. How stupid is that?
Oh my
That it
gosh.
happened. Okie dokie.
All right. So we're like in the semifinals now.
Are we on the Sweet 16?
No, wait. 2, 4. No, we're in the
Final 8?
yeah. What's semifinals
Oh.
essentially? We're like in the
Yeah,
Western Conference Finals. How about that?
Yeah, it's the semi-semifinals.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy versus Mario Kart. I think
Final Fantasy.
we haven't said a goddamn thing about Final Fantasy. We're just like Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't-
for me, it's a lot of the history comes with Final Fantasy 7. 8 has some
6.
weird. I have some weird like
Love hate with that one.
love hate with that, mainly because that's a game that I played through with like an ex-girlfriend, but she mostly played it because whenever I played it, because I wasn't too familiar with playing it, she'd be like, "No, you're doing that wrong, or you're not going to the right place," and I'm just like, "Cool, why don't you just play it and I'll just watch?" And
You can play it then.
yeah, but I mean, with 12, I really loved, and then 13, I love 13 because like as much as everybody hates that one, I loved the battle system for it, and I really liked a lot of the characters. And then of course Final Fantasy 14, and then 15 I loved, and then 7 remake. I mean, there's just a lot of good stuff there, and
There's a lot of great stuff there.
yeah, and I want to play 9 because I know that's like one of the best ones, and
9's great.
and
Nine's really good.
I have to get it on the Switch if I'm gonna play it, because it's the only way I'm ever gonna sit down and actually play it.
Yeah, I played through 9 in college, and I loved. Yeah, I love. I don't say I loved it, but it's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mario Kart, I've never been that big of a Mario Kart fan. It's fun. It's really good, but it kind of squeaked by here. Mario Kart, I don't know. It just it was up against Yoshi and Katamari. It kind of had an easy time getting here.
Yeah, yeah.
Mass Effect versus Resident Evil. I pick Resident Evil. It's close,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Resident Evil.
Oh, and here's the hard part. Okay, so because I'm picking Mass Effect.
Okay.
So now
Okay.
what we need to do, this is probably the best way to decide this. You pick the strongest of each franchise and then decide between the two which one you'd rather play.
It's Resident Evil 4.
So
Every
Resident
day of the
Evil
week.
4 over Mass Effect 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Resident Evil 4 inspired entire genres
True.
and like it made that third person shooter gameplay what it is today. You wouldn't have Gears of War, you wouldn't have Outriders if it wasn't for Resident Evil 4.
This is
And
tough.
Mass Effect's
tough.
great. We got Andromeda. The only thing that goes against Resident Evil is there are some bad Resident Evil games.
Yeah. I mean that's tough because for me Resident Evil 2 remake is really to me the strongest in the franchise.
Yeah,
But that's
It's
only because
amazing.
I've played it more recently. And
I
I
look
think
at it this way: how
Okay.
many great Resident Evil games are there? Way
I mean,
more than 3.
there's a few. But one thing I was gonna say to help me kind of decide, right?
Okay.
I think for me, like trying to go back and play Mass Effect 2 won't have the same effect as me playing Resident Evil 2 again. Resident Evil 2 remake. But also like the future of the franchise to me is brighter on the Resident Evil side, although 8 wasn't like as highly regarded as 7 or maybe 7 was.
Mhm.
But I don't know what's going to happen with Mass Effect. BioWare isn't what they used to, they're like a shell of their former selves. And so, I mean, realistically, like for me, I would still want to pick Mass Effect, but I will pick Resident Evil just because of your love for it.
Okay. This one is tough.
Yeah.
We're at the end of the bracket.
It's getting tough.
And I wouldn't be upset with Mass Effect, but I think you're kind of right. Like Mass Effect has a lot to prove,
Yeah.
and Resident Evil is very much in its renaissance that's been going on for like 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I have more
Okay.
faith in Capcom making a good Resident Evil than I do in BioWare making a good Mass Effect.
Which is a weird way for it to win, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Dark Souls versus Half-Life, the first challenge Dark Souls has had.
Right. I mean, that's so tough because I do really like Dark Souls.
That's a tough one, even for me. If you're gonna give it to Half-Life, I was leaning Half-Life.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Half-Life.
And part of the reason is I love Demon Souls kind of more than I do
Dark
half the
Souls.
Souls games. I love Bloodborne more than the Souls games, Sekiro as well.
Plus, you
But
think
it's not
about
the franchise. So
to me, I think about like Dark Souls 2 and how weird of a version of Dark Souls that is, and how when I first played
great.
it, I really didn't like it as much as I did the first time I played through Dark Souls.
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Plus Half-Life 2.
Plus Half-Life 2. Yeah, it's one of those things. If this was Dark Souls plus, if this was the Soulsborne games from FromSoft,
Yeah.
it would be that.
Yeah.
But it's just Dark Souls 1 through 3. Half-Life wins over that. Unfortunately. And now we have Zelda versus Mario, the one you've all been waiting
Yeah.
for. I'm a Zelda fan.
I was gonna
More
say I love Mario games, but I'm not a huge fan of platformers. And for me, Zelda, like, I think of Breath of the Wild, I think of what's coming, I think of the DS entries, I think of the Game Boy Advance entries, or I guess Game
Yeah.
Boy, and Link to the Past. I mean, it's just those games are so good.
It's hard to beat. I mean, Mario's also stacked like that, but I agree. I'm not a big I mean, I am a big platforming fan, but I'm more of a 3D platforming fan, and there's so much 2D Mario that I feel like kind of just blends together.
Yeah.
Uh, these are two juggernauts, obviously, but I do think it's Zelda. Now we're at the final four.
Here we go.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
The final four.
Yes. Final Fantasy versus Resident Evil. I feel like, again, Final Fantasy has not had to fight at all to get here.
No, they haven't really.
No.
Um,
I pick Resident Evil. I mean, that's not even a choice for me.
dang. That's tough because I'm a much bigger fan of RPGs than I am like horror games. And
You know,
and yeah, that's tough.
I mean, Final Fantasy is amazing.
Let's
We already
come back
talked
to
ab-
this one. Let's go to the next one
Okay, let's go to the
because
next one.
I have to think on that one a little bit.
Okay. Half-Life versus Zelda. This really is just picking your kids.
I'll pick Zelda.
Yeah, I'm inclined to pick Zelda too. It just has too much built-in nostalgia for me. Nostalgia. Nostalgia.
Okay.
Half-Life though, fuck, so good.
I mean, it made it pretty close. It was pretty close.
Yeah. If it was against Final Fantasy, maybe we wouldn't have a discussion.
Right? Oh, this one's so tough for me. The Resident Evil versus Final Fantasy.
And the problem with this one too is there's some bad Resident Evil games. There's some bad Final Fantasy games too. Like they all, as franchises, are not perfect records
and
by any stretch of the
There's so much
imagination.
history, and
Yeah.
I mean, my love for RPGs tends to push me towards Final Fantasy, and I'm just not big on horror games. How do we
Okay,
decide
yeah.
this if we're stuck in a stalemate here?
I mean, I'm
Flip
not.
a coin?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that because I do. I like we said, I think back to Final Fantasy 6. I really liked 9. I really enjoyed 10. 12 I wanted to play more of, but I never really got around to it. I really enjoyed 13. I even really liked 13 too. Like 14, obviously we got sucked into that every 6 months we play more probably. Especially you.
Yeah, it's got me again.
15 I didn't like. 7 remake was amazing overall. I'm not opposed to just picking Final Fantasy necessarily. So here's what I'll say is if Resident Evil goes on, I think I'd still pick Zelda. I'm picking Zelda over this, over any winner of this.
So it doesn't matter then.
So it doesn't matter.
If we just put Zelda versus Final Fantasy and Resident Evil, let's say they're tied, right?
Right.
Take them to the final round together against Zelda.
Right.
Zelda's gonna win.
I would still pick Zelda.
I would still pick Zelda too.
I'll put Final Fantasy because I think that's more consistent. That's a more consistent franchise overall.
Yeah.
And it is about franchise.
And
It
it
is
kind of
franchise.
it kind of represents Tales in a way, right? It's carrying on the spirit of Tales,
Sure, we'll go with
the
that.
Tales
That's
series
what
with
you
it.
try and do.
It's like
Sure.
we'll bring you along, buddy.
I'd rather play Tales games, to be honest with you, but sure.
Yeah.
And then it's Final Fantasy versus Zelda.
For the winner,
And it's Zelda.
it's Zelda.
It's Zelda.
I mean, that's
Now here's the bronze match, the third place or the second place of Resident Evil versus Half-Life, which I think is Half-Life. It has to be Half-Life.
yeah.
Okay.
Not bad.
That's it. That's the full bracket.
That's the full bracket.
Final results: Zelda, Final Fantasy, and then Half-Life. That's an interesting.
Half-Life. I mean, those are pretty good series altogether.
The fourth would be Resident Evil, Mario, Mario Kart, Dark Souls, Mass Effect. Those are all fifth, technically.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Metal Gear
think-
Solid should be higher. Devil May Cry is insanely high on this list. Like it is way too high.
Luck
but
of the
sure.
draw. Luck of the draw for sure.
It really did.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that was a fun way to celebrate episode 100. I mean,
Yeah.
such a good way to like talk about video game history and our history with it and our nostalgia for it, and also like, you know, for like Resident Evil, for Final Fantasy, for Zelda, things, you know, that we're excited for in the future because we know those games
Mhm.
are coming eventually. But yeah.
It was good.
Thanks everyone for listening to 100 episodes of us talk about random video game stuff. And we're very excited to keep bringing on more episodes. And, you know, the show goes through changes here and there, and then it kind of settles right back into where it belongs. And then, yeah, we're always going to try new stuff. But sometimes it's just talking about video games. That's the best part.
Yeah. There's no news. Also, what the fuck happened this week? Not a damn thing.
Yeah, I don't remember much happening.
I think one or two things happened. I don't remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll catch up on what we played on our next episode, and yeah, because I've started playing like The Ascent and Dodgeball
Mhm.
Academia, and
Now, let me real quick ask you about Dodgeball Academia. Are you running around doing little dodgeball? Like, what is it similar to?
it feels like so it feels like there's this Yu-Gi-Oh game that I played on the PSP
All right. Well,
that it felt a lot like, okay? And all you're really doing is like challenging people that go to this school. And
Okay.
I've only really played the intro of it and got through the first couple battles, and then that's it. And it's not very deep, and I don't think I'll be playing too much more of it,
okay.
to be honest, because The Ascent is definitely a more interesting game to me. And there's also like other games that I'm actively playing that are more interesting than Dodgeball Academia.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Next week is a pretty stacked week. There's that Tales of demo for Tales of Arise,
Yeah.
but 12 Minutes comes out next week on Game Pass, and I'm very
Interesting.
excited to play that.
Cool.
Yay!
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week, guys. We'll be back next week with another episode. Again, thank you guys for the listens. Make sure to follow us on podcast services so you can catch all the new episodes. Spotify, Stitcher, Apple and Google podcast services, and, you know, the others, the off-brand, the Great Value brand podcast services, which are so great because they have, you know, our podcast on there.
They have incredible value.
Incredible value. And of course, follow us over on twitch.tv/loadlastcheckpoint where you can watch us live Sundays, 8 p.m. Pacific time. And then I committed another permanent day to stream, which is going to be Thursdays, 9 p.m. Pacific time-ish, probably earlier sometimes, where I'm just streaming games. But yeah, catch us next week, and we'll be here talking about video games. Hopefully there's some news, and hopefully nothing bad, maybe some good news.
Yeah, well, hopefully some good
Hopefully some good news.
news.
So, anyways, that's it. Goodbye. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Bye.
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 Bye.